Governor Tony Evers says he's filing a motion to intervene in that redistricting case before it reaches the state Supreme Court. The governor released a statement that reads, quote, "My commitment to the people of Wisconsin remains the same. I believe that the people should get to choose their elected officials, not the other way around, and that includes making sure legislators cannot abuse their power and manipulate the redistricting process to try and keep their power."